What's up, people? I'm back. I decided, I figured since I reviewed the other Evil Dead movies, and this is like a continuation, and we got the game coming out this week, I'll decided I was gonna review this. I was supposed to do this on Thursday, but we'll do it now. But I'm gonna review Ash vs. Evil Dead. I'm not gonna review every single episode, but I'm gonna do like an overview of like what happened in season 1, 2, and 3. And I remember watching the show when it first came out. It was announced in like 2015. I remember when it came out, and I watched that first season like all the way through because I remember just because at that point I had seen the movies. I wasn't like super into them, but I had seen those movies, and I've always liked Bruce Campbell. And at the time I needed something to watch, so I watched, and I remember really loving it. And this is an example like of how you do a continuation right. Like I don't understand like how they just get it. How Hollywood now. I mean, I get it when I say that it's fucking has to be rhetorical because it's so it shouldn't be. This is like an example. This was like Cobra Kai before Cobra Kai came out. Like this is how you do it. Unfortunately, I didn't watch all of season 2. I think I stopped. I don't remember the exact episode, but I stopped watching. But then I remember really getting back into Evil Dead the last year, and then the game was coming out. I was like, I probably should finish the show. So I ended up finishing it like a month ago. And I really love it. I think this is so good. Season 3 is the weakest season. It's not bad, but it's definitely the weakest season. It feels rushed. I don't like the daughter element, and I'll definitely talk about that when we get to that season. But it's still, that final episode, though, was fucking awesome. And unfortunately, it got canceled because there was supposed to be a season 4 because season 3 ends with like a cliffhanger. Like it sets up like, okay, some shit's about to go down. It's gonna be like season 4 is gonna have like this post-apocalyptic feel to it, and unfortunately, it got canceled. Hopefully, maybe like we get like a movie or something because I would love like a movie with Ash coming back and those characters because Kelly is she's probably like of like the new characters my favorite. She's fucking awesome. She's badass. I love how like she's just willing to fuck shit up. And she once again, she's realistic. She's not like she isn't taking like 300-pound dudes down. She's using weapons. But besides all that, like Ash, the way he comes back in the story is perfect. Like he's working at S Smart, things seem normal. But then he gets attacked by a Deadite again and basically forced to confront his destiny. And Ruby, who helped make the book, which is Lucy Lawless. I love her. I love her in this show too. Like, because the way they introduce her in this, they keep it like, at least for the first few episodes, they keep it a mystery, like if she's a villain or not. Like, oh, whose side is she on? The only character I kind of didn't care for season 1 was the cop chick. I honestly didn't care for her character. She just felt like an add-on. You didn't need her character that season. If I'm going to be honest, I think it was Amanda. It was what her name was. She wasn't needed. She just felt like, and so I'm happy they kind of killed her. Not too, like they killed her pretty early on because she just didn't do it for me. I don't know what it was. She just felt like she was in a. It's another case of like there's just some actors who are in a movie and they just sorry, they don't they feel like they don't like fit. Like, and I think she's the case of that. She feels like she's in like I feel like she should be in like some cop show. I didn't really. She didn't need to be there, and I don't know if they just really need another character with a gun, but maybe if she wasn't a cop and maybe they wrote her differently, I think that could be it. Because I don't necessarily think it's the actress. I think it could be a case of if she was a different character, maybe she should have just been like she could have been a merc or something. She should have been something like that, not a cop. It's just her role. When I see her come around, every time it just feels like a cop show all of a sudden. But besides that, I do like the new characters, and season 1 is objectively my favorite season. I think it's the best season just because of the simplicity of it. But I do really like season 2 because I do like going to Elk Grove, and we get to meet Ash's dad, which he's fucking awesome. It's like that is what I would think Ash's dad would be, honestly. Um, I guess I'll really quick go through the seasons, like just really quick before I go through the main plot. Season one was really good because it had that simple feel to it. It was Ash coming back, and he's forced to meet these new characters and have to try to do all these things to get the book. And I think the thing about this show that does brilliant, it's like 30 minutes. Their episodes are only like less than 30 minutes, and they still give you a lot of lore. The way they do, I think the effects are definitely a lot better. Um, and I love how they ended at the house from the first two films. That's fucking awesome. Season two kind of picks up from there, where Ash thinks like, "Oh, I'm in Jacksonville, everything's fine," and then more Deadites come, and that's because Ruby's kids, which I'll explain more of that later, come to life, and they take basically control of their own and go against her, and basically she forces them to come back, and they have to try to. And then Ash goes back to his town, and this is where we meet his dad. I really season two. I can understand some people who say season two is their favorite season just because like the dynamic that Ruby's with the team in this one is really well done, and I do like the time travel, which they explain really well. It's so weird how stuff like this can explain time travel better than like a Marvel movie. But anyway, um, but like I really like season two, and then season three kind of picks up from there. Ash has his own store, but they just kind of abandon. Like he gets married to like his childhood sweetheart. I think that's what she was, if I remember right, or one of his older girlfriends, and then they just kind of abandon that. And then this is where we get the reveal he has a daughter, which was, I'll admit, I didn't care for that. Because I knew, okay, we're going to have to spend like 3 or 4 episodes of them trying to connect. And it's like, I know she's not going to believe him. Ruby is taking form. Ruby's like a villain because it's the Ruby from the 80s who is in this one. And I did like the final episode, but I just felt like season three was rushed. It felt rushed, even like because like the last episodes like are like at least like season one. I think the last episode was like 30-ish minutes, like over 30 minutes, and I think season two's final episode about the same. This one's like only like 28, 29. It felt shorter, but it was a good final episode. But season three just was a little bit weak. But yeah. So season one, so season one, Ash is working at S Smart. You know, he's living like his life, being seen normal. But then one night he hooks up with a girl, gets the reveal. While doing this, this is where we meet Pablo and Kelly, who, man, like the way they're introduced is because Pablo knows about uh, Ash's stuff. So while this happens, they get attacked by a Deadite, and Ash is basically forced to become, the Ash we all know. He still has his robot hand and a chainsaw, and he has the gun. And yeah, man, the episode where he gears up, I always love those moments in these movies, man, where he gears up, he's like broody, and yeah, it's the dynamic between the team is fucking great. And I think that is one of the reasons season one is my favorite season. Is just the growth between these three characters throughout the season. Unfortunately, Kelly's mother gets possessed by a Deadite, and Kelly steals or Pablo steals the book because he wants Ash, because Ash feels like he has to do other things. While this is happening, Amanda, who's a cop, her partner gets killed by a Deadite and is turned into one. And she's chasing Ash. She's chasing Ash because she thinks he's the killer. And I didn't care for her character in the season. She felt out of place. And maybe if she wasn't a cop, maybe she should have been like one of Kelly's friends or something. I actually think that would have been a better idea. Maybe you'll have her dad be a cop or something, but she shouldn't have been a cop. Every time I saw her character in this season, I'm just like, I don't care for this. Granted, the moments where she meets Ruby is cool. I do like that. I love Ruby's introduction because they keep that mystery of who she is, whose side is she on, what is she doing. Um, and basically Pablo, Ash, and Kelly, because Ash thinks her mom is a deadite, which she was, but she doesn't believe him. She kills Ash's dad, and the gore in this is so good. Even if it's done for like comedic purposes, it's still done in like, and they still take it seriously. It's crazy how things I don't understand like you could do humor, but it's serious in the moment. Like, yeah, the violence sometimes is done for humor. Like, because Evil Dead has always been over the top, not over the top, but like, especially like Army of Darkness. But I do like that this show does blend all three like tones. Because I would say like the first Evil Dead is a bit more serious. To an extent, so is two. But three has like a nice, and then Army of Darkness is like more of a comedic side. But I do like that the show blends it all together. Because there's some moments where it has more of like an Army Darkness kind of feel, and then more of an Evil Dead 1. Especially season 1. Season 1 definitely had more of like a horror, more horror-y tone. Season 2 a little bit. 3 I definitely think goes more like Army Darkness tone, where it's a bit more lighthearted in a sense. But yeah, so her mom's a deadite. They kill her, and then we meet Pablo's uncle, who he was a cool character, even though he died not long. But then we do see him later on in season, I think 2 or 3. But then yeah, they all finally converge, and Ruby is revealed to be the one. Her family is the one who was the architect of the book of the Necronomicon. She forces them to make a deal because she wants to give birth to children who will be like, because she wants order, so she wants like demons to take over. And basically says the season ends with Ash decides to go back to the cabin, which I really do like. I really am. It's always nice, and they do a good job explaining why they bring you back to the cabin. They don't just do it like, oh God, just do it so we can have a member berry. Oh guys, it's the cabin from the Evil Dead movies. They do it in a way where it's they actually have to go back there because it's like the source, So she makes a deal with and I love like how Pablo does almost die a lot. He almost dies because he dies like I think the next season. Yeah, it's the next season or season 3. He like almost dies a lot in this show. But then they make a deal. They agree to leave Ash alone and basically let him do his thing in Jacksonville, and then they'll leave Kelly alone. Not Kelly, Ruby alone. And everything seems fine, and that's how season 1 ends. Basically, them driving off, and also another thing, the music is great. Like a lot of the old school rock music, and not just rock music, like a lot of that old school, like you have a lot of songs from like the 70s and the 80s. Like I love the feel of this show, like just all the time. But overall, season 1 was awesome. I think the simplicity of it, the new characters were great. I love the effects, and it was a nice continuation. So season 2 continues from there. First episode, they're in Jacksonville. They're at a bar. Everything seems chill, and Ash is about to hook up with these 2 chicks, but they actually turn out to be deadites. Kelly, and Pablo kill them, and basically just like they think Ruby's turning on them, but it's actually the reveal that are children, which are these shadow things we saw a little bit in season 1, are actually taking over, and they attack Ruby, because I think that was like the first thing they do. That was actually the opening, from what I remember, of episode 1 of season 2. And basically they confront Ruby, and they think it's her, but no, she says it's not, and they basically are forced to work together. And I actually really do like that. I love Lucy Lawless this season. Because there's two of her, especially later on, in the later episodes. But I really do like her dynamic. So, um, later on, they decide Ash decides he has to go back to his old town, and 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 because they have to try to figure out like what's going on and try to stop her kids. And while this is happening, Pablo starts seeing stuff, and Pablo's arc in these shows is always great. Like especially by season 3, he's like one of my favorite parts of season 3. But season 2, like it has that simplicity, but it does do a good job of like making it bigger because season 2, in a way, should always be like how a sequel for a movie should work. It ups the ante a bit, and I think they did that a lot. And they're forced to work with Ruby again, and there's always going to be that distrust. And this is where we meet Ash's dad, and oh my god, he's like one of my favorite characters of the show, man. He's fucking great. He's what I like would imagine Ash's dad would be. It's fucking great. And he was definitely one of the highlights of this season. Like every time they're together, and yeah, like they were initially like they kind of don't like each other, type of deal because he ran off. And we meet his friend. I don't remember what his friend's name was, but I actually really like Ash's friend. But Ash goes to the bar. We meet. He sees one of his old girlfriends, but she's dating the sheriff, who's actually a guy Ash used to know in high school, and they think they call him Ashy Slashy because they think because the story they think, they heard the story of him killing his friends. They don't know that his friends were deadites, so they just think he just murdered his friends. And while this happens, I don't know why people are setting off fireworks. Sorry about that. While they're back at Ash's house, a group of punks steal Ash's beloved car, and I love like how the next episode. God damn it! Sorry, guys. Anyway, so while they steal the car, it gets taken over by the Force, and I always love in these movies. Well, in this series, they like always show like it going after them, and I love that they bring like a lot of those classic Evil Dead stuff back, but it's done in a way where it's not just done just for nostalgia. It's actually done for like plot purposes. It actually fits the story. So his car gets taken over and basically kills a lot of those kids, and one of the kids is his love interest daughter, and Ruby hit the Necronomicon in the body, and we had some funny hijinks with Ash in a dead body. It was pretty funny. I think the show is fucking hilarious. Like I think one of the things I like is how well the humor is done in this. It's especially season 1, but I think in this season it's actually really well done too. Even a bit in some bits in season 3. But they realize they ended up having to do a spell, so they decide to go back in time to 1982 because they seemingly Pablo dies, and I really do because Pablo like sacrifices himself, and I really like it. I'm not gonna lie, it hit me when he died because this is when I think up until at that point is when I stopped watching season 2, which I should slap myself for because this show was really good, and especially season 2. I actually think season 2 I think it's almost as good as season 1. I really love the dynamic, and his death hits you, and basically Ash feels like to undo Pablo's death that he decides to travel back to 1982 before he traveled to the house and he decided to go get the book, and they do that. And I really love how well done, like, and when they like instantly switch, they start playing like super 80s music. I think it was like Journey they play, and it's fun. The soundtrack in this show is fucking awesome. Like, I love like the just it fits. It's like Cobra Kai. Like, with that'll be another show. I think eventually when it finishes, I will definitely talk about. But like just the homages to like the time period. So he goes back. They go back to the cabin, but the cabin has different occupants, and the story where a guy is forced to kill his daughter, um, or no, his wife, and it turns out his wife was a deadite. The wife convinces Ash to turn on him because he sees her like tied up or chained up. And hold on, let me see something. I was just checking how long I've been going. But yeah, his wife's chained up, and she convinces Ash to unchain her, but then she attacks him and kills her husband. Ash manages to kill her, and other Ruby shows up from the 80s, and she's the villain. Ruby, the current one, fights her, while Ash and Kelly run off to basically get back to their time. Ruby ends up dying, and other Ruby takes form, like basically follows them, and it ends with Ash basically saving the day for the town, and the town like starts liking him again. And I think season 2 is really well done. He gets the girl in the end, and he opens like his own store, and like okay, season 3 is gonna be interesting. But then unfortunately, because season 2 was in like 2016, so it was like a year after season 1. Season 3 was like 2018, like 2 years later. It just a lot of time had passed, and I don't know if they couldn't get the actress back because they don't even address, or maybe they do, and I just don't remember. But the girl he gets, his old girlfriend. She's gone now, and you could tell this season just felt rushed. I think 3 had its moments, like the stuff with Ash and like Pablo and stuff is really good. Like, I really like that stuff, and I love the rift. Like, when they're in the rift, I like some of that stuff, and the final episode's fucking great. But I just think the problem this season is Kelly, Pablo, and Ash are like separated far too much in this season. I'm like, I just felt like what made sorry, goddamn plane. Sorry. But like, yeah, like too many, like they're separated too much this season because episode I think 5, Kelly confronts Ruby and then gets her ass whooped, and she gets possessed by Kaya, and it's just they don't get together again until like the last episode or the second to last episode. It's kind of disappointing. Another thing, I didn't like the daughter. Maybe if it was a different actress. I think this is another case of she fell out of place, man. She felt like she should be in like a different show. I think this is the case of it being the actress, because I just don't think she felt so out of place every time. Like, even like there's a scene where her Pablo is being possessed and he gets attacked by is attacking them. It's her and Kelly, and they're dying. That scene was so awkward between them. She doesn't fit the actress. I talked to someone about this, and they suggested maybe if they made Kelly Ash's daughter, if they had written it well, I actually would have been for that. I think it would have made more sense. This is a character he's been growing with the last year. Yeah, he hit on her. That is a bit weird, but these are characters we grew with for the last 2-3 seasons, so I would have been okay with that. I just felt like this girl just was random. And it's just, unfortunately, we had to go through seeing them grow because, she doesn't trust him because, her mom is like another old girl he hooked up with, and she had a kid. So the first episode, Ash is at his store, Everything seems fine. Kelly, who ran off because she wanted more action, comes back and with her boyfriend. I think his name's Peter, and because he's from the Knights of Samaria, which are they're actually fans of that, and I actually like this dude. I like the character, but then he dies fairly early. Like, and I mean, he dies twice because he gets killed, and then he gets sent to the Rift, and then he dies in the Rift. I felt like he would have been a more interesting character if you like maybe let him live it out for like at least 4 episodes, because this episode season was I think 9 or 10 episodes. So maybe like episode 7, he could have stayed till if he wanted to kill him off then. But I just the stuff with the daughter, which was revealed in episode 1, where we meet her daughter's like in high school, which granted the scene though where the mascot is like covered in blood and it's like taken it becomes a demon. I did like that. I like that stuff. But and her mom's death was pretty brutal, like because they're all in like in the classroom, and she throws like it's like the gold part of the drum, and it like decapitates her mom. The mom is I think Shannon Doherty. She gets decapitated. I always love the blood effects in this show because I think it's well done. So Ash takes her in, but you could tell she doesn't really. I just hated going through that this season, watching her not trust him, even though he helped her. It was, you know what it was. It was just because I knew, like, if that arc had only been like maybe 1 or 2 episodes, fine. But it was like 3 or 4 because her school counselor, which was Ruby in disguise, because she was trying to vouch for information because she wants to restore Ball. And I really didn't, I just didn't care for a character this season. Like the whole daughter arc was just stupid because then, yeah, obviously Ash started distrusting her because he realizes that's fucking Ruby. But then it's like, okay, now we gotta go through that. Oh, man, it was just, didn't really care for this. And Pablo, the Peter doesn't initially trust him. I could be getting the guy's name wrong, but I'm sorry if I am. But he doesn't trust Pablo because he thinks now that he's been possessed by evil that, he is evil. And we had to go through that. Granted, his growth, because they do, like, make it obvious, like, Pablo's going to get with Kelly, but they don't force it. Like, they don't, like, they hint it, like, throughout the seasons, but they don't make that, like, a whole arc. Like, let's say, like, this season, which I think that was well done. They didn't make the whole arc, oh, Pablo's trying to get fucking Kelly. Like, you could tell he has a thing for her, but they try to, like, not force it. I think if you're going to do love interest, that's how it should be done. Because it should always, that stuff should always be a background to the bigger story. Because in stories like this, guys, I don't want a love arc being the main story. Unless it actually fits. But in a show like this, yeah, I don't think it should be the main story. But, so Ruby kills Peter, the Knights of Samaria guy. And other Knights of Samaria members come and confront Ash, and this is where we get the story from his dad. I love this. Is probably one of my favorite sorry, fucking up words today. Moments of season 3 was when his dad comes back as a ghost and kind of does like the Christmas miracle thing, like not Christmas miracle, the Stooge. Scrooge thing, where like the ghost shows him his past. I do like that. Where his dad was like showing him like, yeah, Knights of Samaria guy came around like before. I think this was before the events of the movies to give him the lost pages of the Necronomicon. The guy kicks him down and he ended up dying. I do love his dad is great. So it was kind of cool to see him come back this season, even though he died fucking brutally last season though. I should have mentioned that. Yeah, his dad gets killed by the car. So they end up making a portal to the rift, but they end up one of the guys gets possessed. We have a big fight. While this happens, um, Kelly confronts Ruby. We get the fight itself is actually really good. I'll admit the fight is done well, and they do give Kelly like a fighting chance. She doesn't just get like her ass whooped, but she ends up dying because she's at the end of the day she's human, and she becomes the vessel for Kaya, which is an allegiance to Ruby, and she's trying to do her own things before an order of demons come and basically take over, which ends up happening, and chaos starts happening in the town, and they realize Pablo and Ash realize they got to go to the Rift World to get Kelly back, and they end up getting Sandra back, not Sandra, Brandy back, because Brandy dies at the prom because she gets Ruby throws like a knife, and she I think tries to, and I get it. They try to have you build that connection with her and her dad, but it just felt so forced. Um, but so they're in the Rift, which I actually really like the Rift stuff. Like it's basically the world, but like they do a good job of the effects and make it look unique. I really love the set design in the show, and it's very unfortunate because the way this season ends, season 4 would have been an interesting season. So, a giant demon lands and is basically like kaiju size, but it's done in a way where it's not cartoony. It's still just done dope. It's fucking shit up. Ash decides to stay back. Well, this is now when they're all back now. They're all back in the regular world, and they end up getting Kelly back because Kelly's body was possessed by something else. That's why she wasn't able to come back. But yeah, she ends up coming back from the Rift. And he ends up sending. I'll admit, the one moment with his daughter that I actually did like was when he sends her off and he gives her like the locket, that he gave Cheryl. That was good. He ends up fighting the demon.